A portion of this video is sponsored by Holonaut with their Lark Max 2 wireless lav microphone system. More from them later on in this video. Yo, what is good people, Ben from Lover of Tech, and we are back with another video, this time camera comparison. The Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL versus the Galaxy S25 Ultra versus the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Now, we're just going to be testing everything when it comes to daylight, low light, pictures and videos to see how these three phones hold up when it comes to their camera systems. Have Google done enough to actually upgrade to compete with the big boys? Well, sit back, relax, let's get into this camera comparison. Okay, let's kick things off with this definitive camera comparison between the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL versus the iPhone 16 Pro Max versus the Galaxy S25 Ultra. We are pretty much going to be blitzing through everything when it comes to all the different photo modes for daylight and also nighttime. And then the second half of this definitive test, we are going to go through the video. So definitely stick around for that because that's going to be a very interesting watch. But for now, let's kick things off. Daylight pictures. We're going to start with the rear camera with me in the frame as a subject, starting with the ultra wide. Now, of course, we managed to get lucky with a nice sunny day. So this is really going to test in terms of the image quality, dynamic range, sharpness, detail, colors, and everything that it goes through. And starting with the ultra wide, of course, with the iPhone and the Pixel, you are getting a real 0.5x compared to the 0.6x that you're getting on the Galaxy S25 Ultra. And already off the jump, I really like what I'm seeing on the Pixel. Again, it's really just down to personal choice. Some will probably say that the Samsung is definitely a little bit much more balanced in terms of the colors, whereas the saturation is really just higher on the Pixel. And again, the iPhone is a lot more muted in a sense, but yeah, I like what I'm seeing on the Pixel. Let's go over to the One X, and again, you're seeing the consistency across the board. So the color pipeline for all of them really sticks well, which is exactly what you want. You don't want disparity changes. Under the One X, the detail is great on all of them. Again, I do lean towards more of what I'm seeing on the Pixel, and then probably again, in terms of the much more balanced colors on the S25 Ultra. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on which one you prefer. 2x crop, this is doing a digital crop in the main wide sensor. Again, there is some processing consistent, and I'll say that the Pixel does process this really, really well. The iPhone softens up the image a little bit, and also the Samsung, but yeah, the Pixel really nice, sharp, and detailed. Again, let's go into the 3x mode. Now 3x, just remember that this is still doing a crop and a main wide sensor on the iPhone and the Pixel, whereas on the S25 Ultra, this is a dedicated telephoto zoom. Now, again, I still think this 3x 10 megapixel sensor is outdated and definitely needs to be upgraded to a high resolution, higher sensor next time with the S26 Ultra. But for now, this is what we have. The Galaxy does look the best in terms of the image quality and clarity, but I'll be honest with you, the Pixel 10 Pro XL and 10 Pro really, really cleans up well. So yeah, I like what I'm seeing there. Now let's go into the 5x. Now all of them are now optically favoring in their super telephoto mode. And this is great. All of them are really just like in their bag. They look great. I like them. The color's consistent all the way from the ultra wide to the extended 5x. Again, I do like what I'm seeing with the Pixel. You would probably again say the S25 Ultra is much more balanced, and then the iPhone again mutes things a little bit, but again, it's just down to color choices and just the image of the look, but I do like what I'm seeing on the Pixel. Now, let's run it back. Portrait mode, 1x on all of them. And I would say Samsung definitely has the most flexible portrait mode here because you can do it at the 1x, 2x, 3x, and 5x, whereas the others are limited in what you can do. Google is still doing this thing where it doesn't give you the option to use the 5x natively. So again, there's still no improvement there. It does do 1, 2, and 3x, but the 3x is still a digital crop. With the iPhone, you've got the 1, 2, and 5x. So again, really appreciate the flexibility there. If we're purely judging this on edge detection and blur quality, and of course, last looking at the overall image, I really like what all of them are doing. I'm not someone that has a lot of hair on my head, but of course my facial hair. So it really depends on the task there. And you know, the pose that I have is to really see if it does get the blur in between the gaps of my arms. And all of them are doing great. I have no complaints when it comes to it. Now, when we go into the 2x crop mode for the portrait mode, again, they're pretty much similar across the board. I would say the blur intensity in the Pixel is a lot more intense and more consistent. Whereas if you look on a Samsung, it does miss it a bit when it comes to the tree branches and the lamp. This is quite a tough scene, so I like that we actually took it in this particular situation. I'd say I'll give it to the Pixel, and then maybe followed by the iPhone and then the S25 Ultra, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Now we'll go into the 3x crop mode. It is a crop on the Pixel and it is a dedicated telephoto on the S25 Ultra. Again, you cannot do this on the iPhone unless you take a standard 3x and then convert it to portrait mode after. That is something that you can do. In this situation, I would say the pixels blur is a lot more consistent, so that's a good improvement. It doesn't show it as real time as what the Samsung Galaxy does, but it has improved in that sense, so I would give it to the Pixel in this particular situation. Now, 5x, this is definitely between the Samsung and the iPhone because they natively allow you to do this with the 5x telephoto zoom. So it looks nice. I'll definitely give it to the iPhone. The iPhone just looks good overall when it comes to the image, the fall off, the blur, the consistency, the look. Things are still a little bit patchy on the S25 Ultra. And of course, there isn't a 5x mode natively on the Pixel 10 Pro XL. You can, of course, take a normal 5x, convert it to portrait mode, but natively judging it, it misses it. Google, we really need an improvement here. Allow us to do portrait mode on all the native lenses that make sense to it. In this case, 1x, a 2x crop, and a dedicated 5x telephoto. So yeah, give it to the iPhone, then the Samsung, and then the Pixel last in this particular situation. Okay, quick pause in today's camera showdown, because if you've wondered why my voice has sounded clean and consistent throughout, that's all thanks to the HoloLens Lark Max 2 wireless microphone. Let me tell you what makes this thing such a win. First of all, it's feather light. Each transmitter weighs just 14 grams and its clever hover clip snaps onto your collar fast and stays put. No weird sag or bulky magnet in sight. Battery life. Each unit runs around 11 hours without noise cancelling on, but a compact charging case gives you a whopping 36 hours total runtime, so you can film all day and then some without panicking over the power, and the audio's not just safe, but it's smart. You get 32-bit flow internal recording as a backup, so even if the camera glitches, the sound is safe, and full-chain 32-bit wireless transmission means studio-grade clarity straight into your footage, which is very good for future compatibility for cameras that support it. There's a clever optional hot shoe adapter that connects directly to the MI shoe, allowing for a clean setup with no wires to your camera when it's supported. Range isn't an issue either. It's rated up to 340 meters line of sight with a robust 2.4 gigahertz frequency hopping and ultra low latency under 20 milliseconds. Seriously, solid even in signal dense spots. Plus, the receiver controller on the camera is smart with automatic gain control with 3 preset levels, high, medium, low, which keeps your audio balanced and distortion free without fiddling during shooting. Plus, you have the ability to wirelessly monitor your audio with the optional wireless earphones. So yeah, if you want drama-free pro-grade audio, then the Lark Max 2 is the one to get. Check the link in the description below for where you can get the Lark Max 2 for yourself, and thank you to HoloLens for sponsoring a portion of this video. Now, back to the camera comparison. Now, when we go into the high resolution JPEG mode, I'm not going to be showing the RAWs because I just don't have the time. All these cameras have high resolution modes when it comes to the JPEG. Now for the ultra wide, all of them are able to do it at their respective 48 megapixels or 50 megapixels, which is great. It's best to use it on a day like this when it's really, really bright and sunny, because in terms of dynamic range, it takes a huge hit because there's less processing in there. But yeah, we've got that option for the ultra wide. We've then got that option for the main 1X as well. Of course, high resolution mode. And the Samsung has 2 high resolution modes when it comes to the main 1X, of course. This is the 50 megapixels, and then we've got the 200 megapixels. And as we can see here, again, all of them are doing really good. The Pixel really has improved in terms of being able to process the image a lot quicker and really not taking much of a hit to dynamic range when doing it compared to the normal 12 megapixel mode. So that's a great improvement there with the Tensor G5 ISP. Now, 5X, this is the benefit that you get with the Pixel and the Samsung, that you can do the high resolution in a dedicated 5X. The iPhone only has a 12 megapixel, so maybe they improve it with the iPhone 17, which of course the event has been announced officially for the 9th of September. Stick around, I'll be getting it in, ordering it in, lots of comparisons when it comes to the battery and the camera and everything else. So make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss our definitive camera comparisons on the Lover of Tech channel on all these new devices that are coming. Now, that's what we have in terms of the advantage going towards the Samsung and the Pixel. Next is the 200 megapixel mode. Again, this is the flexibility of the main wide sensor on the Galaxy S25 Ultra. It is a storage hog, but again, on a day like this, this is the best option you have to use it. Right, let's turn things around and look at some selfie images of the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, iPhone 16 Pro Max, and the Galaxy S25 Ultra from the jump is the Pixel for me. This is one thing Google has just been getting right generationally. The field of view of the selfie, the performance, the image quality, the colors, the detail, the dynamic range. Yeah, one of my favorite selfie cameras on any smartphone, and the Pixel 10 does not disappoint. It walks all over the other two. Now, the other two are good, but in my particular situation, with my skin complexion, boy, the Pixel really just nails it and gets it done. For things like group selfies, that's the kind of selfie performance that you want. Let's switch to portrait mode. Now, here's the very interesting thing. You would have noticed the field of view on the iPhone crop in. This is something iPhones have been doing for a while now. When natively taking portrait mode, it crops into the field of view and then does the blur. Whereas if you take a normal picture, you can then add the blur after into the portrait mode. So I don't know why Apple still does that. I really wish they'd change it. And in this situation, it just didn't work. You know, I should have retaken it, but when I did it, it just didn't work. So the other two really nailed it. Again, it's the Pixel for me, but I actually like the look of the blur more on the Samsung, but the overall image, I'm definitely giving it to the Pixel. Now, last set of daylight images with the rear camera looking at the landscape, again, starting from the ultra wide, and a day like this, clear blue skies, sunny day. Yeah, we got it good in this situation because we can really decipher in terms of the shadow detail, highlight recovery, and also the colors, what we're seeing. And I think the Pixel balances it well. The Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra does oversaturate the sky a little bit more. And again, we can see the color consistency. The Pixel versus the iPhone tones things down. Again, for me, I'm taking the Pixel all the way. I really like what Google are doing here with the processing. We go to the One X, again, it's consistent all the way through. So not much else to say. It's no different to before. And I like that across the board in terms of whichever your preference is, the color processing is pretty much going to be consistent through all the lenses. And that's the experience on a flagship that you really want. Let's go to the 2X crop mode. Again, detail-wise, the processing does look really good across all of them for the landscape situation. So again, no complaints. I'm probably going to say that in terms of the bricklay in the far distance and the overall detail of the shadows, the Pixel does a really good job there. So yeah, Google, good HDR processing. Let's go to the 3X crop mode, but it is a dedicated telephoto on the S25 Ultra. And again, the clarity on the S25 Ultra is the best out of all of them. But again, the Pixel cleans up well, whereas things do fall apart and look a bit softer on the iPhone in this situation. Let's go to the 5X Super Telephoto, and things are really going to be extending. We're going to go further than that. But right now, when we're looking at it, all of them are looking good and in their bag. And again, I just think the Pixel's HDR processing when it comes to shadow recovery and detail is really, really good. They can look like there's a bit of over sharpening here and there, but I think overall it's the image that pleases me the most. 10X extended crop, and of course this is extending it on the 5X on all of them. And of course this is a situation where they're really being pushed, and I think they're doing great, all things considered. In this range, you can still get good detail if you're looking further ahead and trying to capture some stuff. But yeah, par for par, they look good. Again, I still really like what the Pixel's doing. I think then followed by the S25 Ultra and then the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Now, the maximum end zoom here for the iPhone is 25x, whereas the Pixel 10 Pro XL 10 Pro and the S25 Ultra, there's more to give and more to actually show. In this situation, when we're looking at the text and what we've got, yeah, the Galaxy S25 Ultra actually makes better detail of the text in a brick in this situation compared to the others. Obviously, the iPhone is completely out of the question when it comes to this. So yeah, the Galaxy does take it slightly, but of course the colors do look much more vibrant and nicer with the Pixel 10 Pro XL. Now, 100x. Google have a new ProRes zoom feature. Now, when you do this and it's processing, this is on non-human subjects, right? And it upscales it using AI and obviously the tensor technology that they've got under there. It does save 2 images. This is the non-ProRes zoom image that you're seeing right now, and comparing it to the Galaxy S25 Ultra that doesn't have that kind of feature. When you activate the ProRes zoom, as you can see right now, it kind of cleans it up, but it doesn't, you know, fix the text being able to be much more visible than you already had. So yeah, it's a give and take situation. It does clean up the image, but comparing the two, this is what you have with the ProRes zoom. And of course, looking at this image of the truck, you can see that in terms of the color processing, again, the Pixel strikes that kind of really nice balance between the two that I really like. But in some cases, you could go for the other two. there isn't really a right way of what actually is preferred. I would probably say overall, looking for a much more balanced image, the iPhone 16 Pro Max, the image that gives you kind of like the much more edited, more pleasing, eye-popping, definitely the Pixel. And the S25 Ultra kind of straddles somewhere in between the two. So let me know if you agree in the comment section below. All right, let's look at some close-up shots as well as minimum focus and distance. With minimum focus and distance, one thing I would say is that for the longest time, for about 3 generations since maybe the 14 Pro series, the iPhone's minimum focus and distance on a main sensor isn't all that great. So if you look at compared to the other two do allow you to get closer while still staying in focus, and they create this natural depth of field look that just looks so pleasing. I really like the look of that on the Galaxy S25 Ultra. It just looks so buttery, followed by the Pixel. But yeah, the S25 Ultra for sure, minimum focus and distance on the iPhone 16 Pro Max is not all that great. This is where using macro mode really does make a difference. It does allow you to get up close and personal. And of course, that is using the autofocusing feature on the ultra wide cameras to really allow you to get close and detailed. And of course, the colors and the overall sharpness looks good on the Pixel S25 Ultra and improved on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. So yeah, macro mode really helps in these situations. And you can see with this final flower that yeah, macro mode is a difference maker when it comes to giving you a sharper detail and closer. Again, this is one of the features of flagship phones that really make a difference. Okay, let's turn off the lights and look at some low light images between the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, the Galaxy S25 Ultra, and the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Now, if you're an avid watcher of our definitive camera comparison, then you know the staggered approach that we take when taking our low light images. But if this is your first time here and you appreciate the detailed, methodical approach to our definitive camera comparisons, then be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos on the Lover of Tech channel. Road to 100,000 subscribers is still on the table, and with your help and support and engagement, we can make it happen. Now, what we like to do when taking low light images is that we like to take it without night mode, then night mode, and where flash is applicable, use the flash to take the images. Now, this is to show the different image qualities and also the capturing experience. When we talk about the capturing experience, there is some delay when it comes to using night mode that can cause shake and blur and not really make it easy to actually capture the image. Whereas sometimes not using night mode is quicker and still yields great performance, or old school and old fashioned, use the flash mode to get the best performance and also capturing speed. So yeah, we're gonna start with me in the frame as a subject with the rear camera, starting with the ultra wide without night mode first. And of course, you can already see the Pixel 10 Pro XL. Considering this is without night mode activated, yeah, this is doing a really good job, to the point where to some extent it can look quite overpowering, where the S25 Ultra is actually quite balanced. And of course, iPhone 16 Pro Max definitely needs night mode to really help it. Let's go to the 1X mode. Again, the Pixel 10 Pro XL without night mode is beasting it, and it's much more balanced now. And I would say between that and the S25 Ultra, you can really pick between the two. Maybe the S25 Ultra handles my skin tones a little bit better, but again, the iPhone is definitely the dimmest. It leaves the last place for this one. Yeah, it's really between the Pixel and the S25 Ultra. I'm gonna go S25 Ultra with this one because it handles my skin tone and highlights a lot better this time around. Now, let's go into the 2X crop mode. Again, it's the Pixel all the way, man. Pixel, and then you've got the S25 Ultra, and then you've got the iPhone 16 Pro Max. This is such a good look without night mode on the Pixel. Good stuff, good look. Now, let's go into the 3X crop mode. Again, it's a crop on the Pixel and the iPhone, but it is using the S25 Ultra 3X telephoto. Again, I've gone in with the camera assistant and made sure that it doesn't auto lens switch. It is using the dedicated 3X on the S25 Ultra. And again, it is the Pixel that cleans up well, then the Samsung, then the iPhone 16 Pro Max. But again, with the Samsung, it does have a lot more noise, so you could actually eliminate that and go with the iPhone. So yeah, we can probably do it in that particular order. Now, let's go into the 5X zoom mode. And of course, we don't necessarily have a way to lock it in with the iPhone, so it's probably still doing a crop in the main sensor, so just beware. Again, this is something to take into consideration with the Pixel that was locked in into the Pro mode, where you could actually just allow it to use the dedicated 5X. Same with the Galaxy S25 Ultra. And I think the colors wonk a little bit on the, Pixel. So I would sacrifice maybe taking a little bit more noise for the S25 Ultra. But again, in terms of the exposure, the Pixel's better. So maybe Pixel, S25 Ultra, and then the iPhone 16 Pro Max. But you could also go S25 Ultra, Pixel, and then the iPhone 16 Pro Max. All right, let's run it all back and activate night mode, and you can already see the huge difference starting from the ultra wide that night mode makes on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. And in fact, I actually prefer the iPhone 16 Pro Max out of all of them. Night mode is just too overpowering now on the Pixel 10 Pro XL and the S25 Ultra, where it kind of needs to be dialed down. Now, I'd say the Pixel 10 Pro XL handles it better. The S25 Ultra is just a bit too much. This has kind of whitewashed my face, which is not a good look. I want the look that we're getting on the iPhone there. So Apple takes this one. Now, when we go to the wide sensor, again, things really balance out well on the iPhone and the Pixel. I would say it's the iPhone again that kind of like the look of it, then followed by the Pixel, just because of the skin tone highlight detail in terms of handling of that. Man, the S25 Ultra, that's just too much. Completely whitewashed my face, man. Not a good look at all. Now, when we go into the 2x crop mode, again, the night mode is just too overpowered on the S25 Ultra. It's really between the Pixel and the iPhone. And again, it's the iPhone. How it's handling the highlights on my skin, much better. So again, gotta give it to Apple in this one with the night mode in 2x crop. Going into the 3x crop mode, things do still favor the iPhone in my opinion, because the image on the Pixel 10 Pro XL is a bit softer than I would like, you know. And again, the look that I have here with the S25 Ultra, disappointing, not a good look. Gonna give it to the iPhone again. And then clean sweep as we're going, it is still the iPhone. In the 5x mode, the iPhone does look the best. The image on the Pixel 10 Pro XL has softened up. And again, this is kind of like the territory you walk into when it comes to night mode. You know, with the blur and the shake and exposure time, yeah, clean sweep goes to the iPhone 16 Pro Max. The difference between not having night mode and night mode, Apple takes it with this one. Now, again, in this particular situation, we can run it back again. Flash is applicable. And with the flash, yeah, it is the Pixel 10 Pro XL that really handles it well. Again, I think the flash exposure looks nice on S25 Ultra, but the image detail is much sharper and much nicer and overall pleasing on the Pixel. With the iPhone 16 Pro Max, it's just not looking as good as we'd like. Let's go into the 1X mode. Again, it's the Pixel for me. Then, in some cases, it could actually go to the iPhone 16 Pro Max because I like how the colors look best, especially across my skin and my jumper. So yeah, probably Pixel, iPhone, and S25 Ultra. Next is the 2X crop mode with the flash applicable. In this case, it's Pixel, Samsung, and the iPhone. The iPhone just looks too soft. Yeah, Pixel really cleans up well in this particular one. Now, let's go into the 3X crop mode, dedicated zoom on the S25 Ultra. Again, I like how the image on the Pixel is looking, then followed by the S25 Ultra, then the iPhone. Then with the 5X, we can again see that the colors do shift a bit, but the image on the iPhone is just too soft. I actually like the clarity and the overall look of the S25 Ultra this time around, then followed by the Pixel, then the iPhone. Now, let's move to portrait mode. This is a tough one because not all the modes are activated across all the devices and all their focal lengths when doing it. Let's do it without night mode to start with. And in this particular situation, it's a tough one. I think overall it is the Samsung that takes it because it does actually blur the whole scene, the gaps in between my arms, around my head better. The Pixel falls apart just a little bit. The iPhone, it's just not in the game. So yeah, I'll go Samsung, Pixel, then iPhone. Then we go into the 2X mode. Again, it's a tough one across the board. The Galaxy does miss a bit around my head, the same as with the Pixel. The image is just too soft on the iPhone, but overall blur is better on it. So judging by the blur and the consistency, the iPhone kind of takes it, but the overall image is just not that great. It's a struggle on all of them, but I am going to go with the Samsung, Pixel, and then the iPhone. Now 3X, again, there isn't a 3X mode for the iPhone, so we're still stuck at the 2X mode in this particular situation. I kind of like the overall image of the Pixel 10 Pro XL, but this is a tough one across the board. It's just because it holds better detail, but again, it's a coin toss. I'm gonna go Pixel, S25 Ultra, iPhone 16 Pro Max. Now, 5X mode, again, this is for the iPhone and the Galaxy S25 Ultra, and oh, this is a tough one, but I'm gonna go S25 Ultra just for the overall image. But I do like the blur fall off on the iPhone though. But overall image, it definitely has to go to the S25 Ultra, then the iPhone, and of course no 5X native mode on the Pixel, so that comes in last place. Let's now activate night mode and run it back again. This is the benefit that you get with the Samsung. You can do it across all the lenses. The iPhone is limited to just the 1x mode for night mode, whereas the Pixel, of course, you can do it in the 2x, 3x, and also the 1x. But again, it's just too overpowered on the Samsung for the overall image. But we're going to judge the blur and edge detection. It does do a fantastic job. It does do a great job. But yeah, I'm taking the Pixel, Samsung, and then we're going with the iPhone. Now let's go into the 2x mode, and the Pixel does struggle. You can see the blur that is missing around my head, so that is deducted. I'll definitely say it is between the Galaxy S25 Ultra and iPhone 16 Pro Max. Again, because the iPhone 16 Pro Max doesn't do night mode in the 2x portrait, it loses. I don't like the night mode being so overpowered on the Samsung, but it does at least allow you to do it, and it gets the blur right. So Samsung takes it, and then you've got the Pixel 10 Pro XL because it missed a bit of the blur. Now 3x, again, still between what we're seeing with the Samsung and the Pixel because there isn't a 3x mode. Again, I'm still going to give it to the Samsung just because of the blur consistency around my head, in between the gaps of my arms, and the whole scene. I still don't like the fact that it's so overpowered on my skin as an overall image, but if we're judging edge detection, blur consistency, and quality, it has to be the Samsung, then followed by the Pixel, and then the iPhone last because it doesn't have a 3x mode. Let's go to the 5x, and again, the 5x, this is between the Samsung and the iPhone. Again, because the iPhone doesn't have a night mode for the 5x, it kind of loses by process of elimination, but I do like the blur in the image. I think the overall blur does look nice on it. It's a shame the night mode is too overpowered on the Samsung. They need to tune that down again, but it does allow you to do portrait mode in night mode with the 5x natively, so I've got to give it to it, and it's consistent with the blur edge detection all the way through. Now let's run it back. Flash where applicable. This is where the iPhone will tell you that when you go into the 2x and the 5x, use flash or go back to the 1x to use night mode. This is what we're doing. Flash is applicable and it works well across the board. And I would say now, in my opinion, I like what I'm seeing on the iPhone compared to all of them, much more consistent. So the iPhone, then I would say the Pixel because of the overall image, and then you've got the Galaxy. Let's go into the 2x crop mode. And again, this particular situation, it's a tough one. It's more between the Pixel and the iPhone, in my opinion. But again, all of them are pretty much within the same range of performance, so you can't lose with either. Let me know in the comment section below which one you would pick. You go into the 3x mode. Again, with flash applicable, you've got a bit of red eye on the Samsung. I don't like the overall image. I have to give it to the Pixel. I think the Pixel takes this one, and then the Samsung. And obviously, because the iPhone doesn't have a 3x, it kind of loses by process of elimination. Let's go into the 5x mode. And yeah, it's definitely the Samsung, then the iPhone, then the Pixel in this particular situation. Let's turn the cameras around and look at some front-facing selfies between the Google Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, S25 Ultra, and the iPhone 16 Pro Max. This is what we've got here. Again, running it the same without night mode, and the front screen flash. And of course, it's the Pixel, baby. Google, I love what you've done with the selfie this time when it comes to pictures. It is just incredible. Field of view, colors. This is about night mode. Look how much the iPhone is just falling apart. It's just not part of this at all in any capacity. S25 Ultra holds its own, but yeah, it's the Pixel. Activate night mode. Again, all of them greatly improve with night mode, especially with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. It really needs it. But again, man, it's the Pixel for me, baby. I'm picking that one. Then in this situation, I'll probably go with the iPhone, then the Samsung, but yeah, Pixel all the way outright wins it. Front screen flash. This is quite a tough one because obviously the illumination of the front screen really does determine how it will look. Again, I'm still giving it to the Pixel overall. I like it. It just looks clean. It looks really good. So yeah, Pixel all the way. Portrait mode. Again, you can see how much more the field of view crops in even more with the iPhone. And yeah, it just doesn't look as pleasing. It looks soft. I do still like what I'm seeing on the Pixel. This is a hard one to pick, but Pixel, Samsung, and then the iPhone. Now, the iPhone doesn't allow you to do night mode and portrait for the selfie. This has been synonymous as a thing for all the years I've been doing camera comparisons. Apple still haven't updated and fixed this. Apple, I'd love to see an improvement here as an added feature. But for me, again, it's the Pixel. My Pixel walks away with it. Pixel clean sweeps. Because even with the front screen flash, which now the iPhone does allow you to use it, man, it's the Pixel all the way. Pixel, Samsung, and then iPhone. Selfie for low light, it's the Pixel all the way. Last set of low light images with the rear camera with the landscape shots, and this is going to be without night mode and night mode. Flash is not going to be applicable here, so we can really blast through. As we saw from before, it is consistent. Without night mode, the ultra wide on the iPhone 16 Pro Max really suffers. You do need night mode to really give it the best experience possible as you are going through. Pixel 10 Pro XL without night mode is a beast, and I don't even think in most cases you're going to need it unless it's a really extremely dim, or you're obviously using it for astrophotography in any capacity. So yeah, moving over to the One X, of course, without night mode, again, it's the pixel landscape. It's just really beasting through. Now, it does push the lights in terms of the highlights a bit more than I would like. So maybe in some cases, it gives more of the nighttime look on the iPhone. But yeah, just let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. 2x crop. Now, the detail actually processes really well on the Pixel. But again, the lights in terms of the blooming and the highlights, it's much more controlled on the iPhone, so I kind of like that a lot better in some cases. But yeah, moving over to the 3X, again, this is the same consistency. The image does process better on the Pixel. Again, low light, that 3X sensor 10 megapixels, again, is outdated. We need it changed and improved. So it's not doing well here, and it's being forced to actually be pushed itself at low light. 5X, as we can see, really does clean up well across the board on all of them. It's not bad. I actually can't complain. I still like what I'm seeing in the Pixel, and I'll probably say the overall balance of the image in terms of the nighttime look, less noise, the iPhone, and then the S25 Ultra. In some cases, you could actually say the iPhone, the Pixel, and the S25 Ultra. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's activate night mode as we go across. Again, night mode with the ultra wide on the iPhone makes a huge difference, man. You want to be using on that one. It kind of overpowers it a bit more on the Pixel 10 Pro XL, where in this situation it doesn't need it. And the Galaxy S25 Ultra, it does do a good job. But again, that kind of like the purple hazing around the lights, that's creeping in. And sometimes this is something that creeps in and catches Samsung phones out. So I'd love to see this improved in more scenarios and situations. Let's move over to the 1X mode. And of course, things balance out well across all of them. No complaints. I really struggled to pick. I kind of like the color balance on the iPhone, then followed by the Samsung, and then the Pixel 10 Pro XL. But again, that's just to my eye. You can pick whichever. You can't go wrong with either. 2X crop in this situation with night mode active. All of them clean up and process really well. No complaints. If I'm going to pick, I kind of really like what I'm seeing on the iPhone, and then followed by the Samsung and then the Pixel. But honestly, they're all really good. Let's go into the 3X mode. Again, cleaning up really well, much better improved on the Samsung. I think Samsung takes it. The night mode and the dedicated telephoto really helps the Samsung here. So it's definitely Samsung, Pixel, and then the iPhone. And then the last but not least, the last image, 5X night mode. And that is something that is great across the board. I think really the preference here is what gives that cleaner nighttime look. It is the iPhone, in my opinion, for this particular one. And then the Pixel, then the Galaxy S25 Ultra. But really, at a snapshot, you look at all of them, can't go wrong with either. Now we've gone through analyzing all the pictures, it's now time for the video section of this definitive camera comparison. Now, I would say that the best way to watch this section of the camera comparison is on the largest display possible at the highest resolution and frame rate at 4K 60 with headphones on, because there will be audio switching so you can see what the audio quality is across these devices. There will be chapters linked in the description below, but sit back, relax, get your popcorn, get your drink, get your meal, because this will be a detailed one. We are now recording in the 4K UHD 60 frames per second video recorder mode on a front-facing camera on the Pixel 10 Pro XL, 10 Pro, Galaxy S25 Ultra, and the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Again, just seeing how the image quality is like, sharpness, detail, colors, dynamic range, and of course, video stabilization. Let's do a quick run. We're now recording in the 4K UHD 30 frames per second video recorder mode on a Pixel 10 Pro XL, 10 Pro, Galaxy S25 Ultra, and an iPhone 16 Pro Max. Again, seeing how the image quality is like, dynamic range, sharpness, colors, details, and of course, video stabilization. Let's do a quick run. We're still recording in their respective 4K UHD 30 frames per second video recorder mode on a selfie camera on a Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, S25 Ultra, and iPhone 16 Pro Max. But we are in their respective video portrait mode For the iPhone is cinematic, Samsung is portrait. Now, again, another disappointment here, Google have done no upgrades. You cannot do the front-facing camera blur, but you can only do this on a rear camera, which is just 1080p 24 FPS. Now, I do have my own gripes with Samsung on this one. They have taken away the visual effects that you can in terms of the glitch. They've removed it altogether, so the previous model has it, but these new ones on the S25 Ultra and S25 series don't. The Samsung and the iPhone do allow you to do this in 4K at least, so that's really nice. And that's the quality difference. We are now recording in the 4K UHD 30 frames per second video recorder mode on the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, S25 Ultra, and the iPhone 16 Pro Max. We're just seeing how the image quality is like on the main camera to start with, colors, detail, sharpness, dynamic range, and video stabilization. Let's do a quick run. Switch to the ultra wide. All these camera systems do allow you to switch between lenses in 4K 30 for the rear. Quick run. Let's go straight to 2x. And just a slow walk. We're gonna go to 3x, and this is available as a dedicated optical telephoto on the Samsung. I still think this 3x is outdated and does need to be upgraded to a larger sensor and high resolution, but for now it is still nice to have compared to the others. It's a nice mid-range zoom before you get to telephoto at the super end. Okay, 5x, 5x. I'm in a 5x mode. Doing a slow walk. So let's go to 1x. 1x. Now, here's the interesting thing with all of them. All of them now have the ability to pause recording and continue the video on the same clip, which is great. This is an upgrade seen recently on the iPhone. You could do this on Android phones for a long time. You can take pictures at the same time. The only difference is Samsung. It is still the only camera system, or one of the only camera systems, that allow you to switch to the front-facing camera at the same time while recording. Samsung have been the pioneer and still have the most usable and seamless video system when using it. We are now recording in the 4K UHD 60 frames per second video recorder mode on the Pixel 10 Pro XL, the Pixel 10 Pro, of course, S25 Ultra, iPhone 16 Pro Max. We're just seeing how the image quality is like, sharpness, details, colors, dynamic range, and of course, video stabilization. Let's do a quick run. Switch to the ultra wide. All these camera systems showing their flagship benefits of being able to switch between lenses without stopping in 4K 60. Quick run. Let's go straight to 2x. Go slow walk. Which optically does favor the Samsung. It's a digital crop still on the main sensor on the others. And then 5x. Okay, so same thing, same benefit. All these can actually pause and continue on the same clip when it comes to video, take pictures at the same time, switch between all the rear lenses. Again, it is still Samsung that wins. It is still the only camera system that allows you in 4K 60 to flip to the selfie camera without stopping recording. Samsung, you did it again, you're winning. Still the most seamless and the most the most useful camera system on a smartphone when it comes to video. We are now recording in the 8K 30 frames a second video recorder mode, and this is on the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, S25 Ultra, and the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Again, with the Pixel, this is doing video boost. So the native video is in 1080p. It gets uploaded to the cloud, takes a while, and then it boosts up to 8K. This is natively being done on the S25 Ultra, so that's a big win for Samsung there. And the iPhone is still limited to 4K 30, so it's out of the league when it comes to being able to support a super high resolution. Let's see how the image quality is like, and quick run. We're still recording in their respective 8K 30 frames a second video recorder mode on the Pixel 10 Pro XL, 10 Pro, S25 Ultra, and obviously with the iPhone 16 Pro Max it is limited to just 4K 30. We're now on the 0.5x and the 0.6x ultra wide respectively. And again, this is native on the Samsung, video boost on the Pixel, and no 8K option on the iPhone. So yeah, Samsung doing a great job here. Quick run. We're still in the respective 8K 30 frames a second video recorder mode on the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, S25 Ultra, and limited to 4K 30 on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Now on the 5X Super Telephoto. Again, the only 8K option that's missing on the Samsung is the 3X because it doesn't have enough resolution, hence why we need that upgrade to a larger sensor at 50 megapixels. And then maybe Samsung might actually be the first company that allows us to shoot 8K on all the lenses and sensors and switch between them on the fly. Let's wait and see. I have faith in you, Samsung. Make it happen. So we're now in their respective active, super steady, and action mode, stabilization mode on the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, S25 Ultra, and the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Again, this is another area where Google have made no upgrades. It's still limited in resolution and frame rate, 1080p 30. You've got that on a 1X and a 2X, which is really disguised as the ultra wide. Whereas with the Samsung and the iPhone, you've got them at 2.8K and 2.5K QHD up to 60 frames a second. Way more flexibility across the lenses. We're just going to do it on a 1X and do a super run to see the difference. We're now recording in a 4K UHD 30 frames a second video recorder mode on the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, iPhone 16 Pro Max, and the Galaxy S25 Ultra. We've now got me in the frame as the subject, and luckily we've got a good, actually nice summer day. This is being shot on the 25th of August, Bank Holiday Monday 2025, and UK Carnival weekend. So yeah, go watch all the other content when it comes to the day in the life, extreme battery drain test, charging test hopefully as well. Yeah, hopefully blind camera test as well, so watch out for that one. See if these guys can spot the difference between what we're shooting with these devices. But the main camera, me in the frame is the subject. How does it look? We're still recording in their respective 4K UHD 30 frames a second video recorder mode on the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, iPhone 16 Pro Max, and the Galaxy S25 Ultra. What you will notice now is that we've gone to the ultra wide, 0.5x on the iPhone and the Pixel, and then 0.6x on the Galaxy. Gonna zoom in, come close, see if there's any focus hunting. Come back to position. Luckily, again, we've got a great sunny day, so we're able to really see it in terms of how it's managing the colors on my skin, the environment, as well as the clothes that I'm wearing. So watch out. Still recording in their respective 4K UHD 30 frames a second, and that's on the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, S25 Ultra, iPhone 16 Pro Max. What we've done is a 2x crop and a main wide sensor. Let's see how the image quality degrades or holds up with me in the frame as the subject, of course with good lighting. So we're still recording in their respective 4K UHD 30 frames per second video recorder mode on the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, the Galaxy S25 Ultra, and the iPhone 16 Pro Max. What we've now done is gone into the 3x zoom mode. This is optically favoring the telephoto 3x 10 megapixel sensor on the S25 Ultra, so it should be performing better compared to the Pixel and the iPhone. But let's just see how the image quality is like. We're still recording in their respective 4K UHD 30 frames per second video recorder mode on the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and the Galaxy S25 Ultra. 5x super telephoto is being a famous subject. Let's see how the image quality is like across the board for all these three. We're now recording in their respective 8K 30 frames per second video recorder mode on the Pixel 10 Pro XL, 10 Pro, S25 Ultra, and the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Now, just to clarify, the iPhone is limited to 4K 30. 8K is being shown on the Pixel and the Samsung. Now, caveat, with the Pixel, it's still using Video Boost, where it does have to send it to the cloud. The native video file is 1080p, so just take that with what it comes with. Whereas with the Samsung, this is native 8K on board straight away from the jump. Very impressive, and this is something that you see on the other lenses that are high resolution as well, such as the ultra wide and the 5x telephoto. For now, we're just going to be focusing on the 1x, just seeing how the image quality difference is like. We're now recording in their respective 4K UHD 30 frames per second video recorder mode on the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, iPhone 16 Pro Max, and the Galaxy S25 Ultra. What I've done is activated a video boost feature on the Pixel just to see how the image quality difference is like compared to the non-video boost in 4K 30. This will go up to the cloud, and just be warned, the native video is 1080p. We're now recording in their respective 4K UHD 60 frames per second video recorder mode on the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, iPhone 16 Pro Max, and the S25 Ultra. Again, with me in the frames subject at the high resolution at 4K and 60 FPS, we're just seeing how the image quality is like. We're still recording in their respective 4K UHD 60 frames per second video recorder mode on the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, iPhone 16 Pro Max, and the Galaxy S25 Ultra. What we've done is activate the video boost feature on the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL to see how the image quality is with the 4K 60 without video boost activated. And let's see how the image quality is like. Again, the original video is going to be 1080p. It does upload to the cloud. It does take a bit of time, even with strong internet. Let's see if that really makes a difference. We're now recording in their respective video portrait mode, which is the blur effect on the Pixel, cinematic on the iPhone, video portrait on the Samsung. Now with the Samsung and the iPhone, you do have the ability to record in 4K 30. Again, this is where Pixel and Google have no upgrade. It's still 1080p at 24 FPS. So yeah, that's quite disappointing. And this is just where it stands. You get the better quality experience on the iPhone and the Samsung. Now you're probably wondering what happened to the iPhone's image disappearing when it comes to this particular shooting sequence with the video portrait mode with the rear camera. It overheated. Yeah, we were recording this on the 25th of August 2025 on a Monday, bank holiday, carnival weekend in the UK, and yeah, it overheated, and you can see the video evidence, and this took a while for it to cool down. Now, it was a 25-degree day. In my opinion, yes, it is a hot day, but it's not the kind of extreme heat. And this is something you have to consider. If you're using an iPhone and pushing it, this could happen. Same thing also happened for the Pixel 10 Pro when using it in this particular situation. It was only the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra that held up. So yeah, if you're in situations where you're on a hot climate, you're really pushing these cameras and they overheat on you, it's gonna pretty much hinder you actually capturing the memories and the moments that you want. Take that into consideration. That's what happened to me. That's why the image disappeared when it came to the video portrait mode for the iPhone. Let's get back to the rest of the video. We are now recording in the 4K 30 frames a second video recorder mode on a Pixel 10 Pro XL, Pixel 10 Pro of course, iPhone 16 Pro Max, S25 Ultra. We're just seeing how the low light performance is like with the colors, sharpness, detail, image stabilization. Switch to the ultra wide. Let's go to 2x. Let's go to 3x. So we're still recording in a 4K UHD 30 frames a second video recorder mode on a Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, S25 Ultra and iPhone 16 Pro Max. What we've done is enabled the video night sight mode on a Pixel 10 Pro. And this does use the video boost feature. As you know, video boost means that this is not natively giving you this quality. It has to be uploaded onto the drive to Google servers for it to be processed. It might take a while over Wi-Fi before you see the quality difference. And the native recording is not 4K 30. So just be aware of the time that will take. Let's compare it, go to ultra wide. Straight to 2x. Three X. Now we go to 5x. We are recording in the 4K UHD 30 frames a second video recorder mode on a selfie camera for the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL of course, S25 Ultra and the iPhone 16 Pro Max. We're just seeing how the low light performance is with the front facing selfie camera. We're still in their respective 4K UHD 30 frames a second video recorder mode on the Pixel 10 Pro, S25 Ultra and iPhone 16 Pro Max. What we have done is enabled the video portrait mode, the cinematic mode. Now, the Samsung seems to be working. The iPhone does say it needs more light. And yet again, Google have made no improvement here. You still cannot do any form of video portrait mode in the selfie camera, only for the rear camera. And with that rear camera, it's still limited to 1080p 24 FPS. We are now recording in a 4K UHD 30 frames a second video recorder mode on the Pixel 10 Pro, Pro XL of course, S25 Ultra and the iPhone 16 Pro Max. We're just doing that with the rear camera with me in the frame as the subject, just seeing how the image quality is like in low light with me in there. Let's now switch to the ultra wide on all of them. What I'm gonna do is get close, see if there's any focus hunting. And then let's go back to 1x on all of them. We're still recording in their 4K UHD 30 frames a second video recorder mode on the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, S25 Ultra, iPhone 16 Pro Max. What we've done is enabled the night sight video feature on the Pixel 10 Pro. Now, with me in the frame as a subject, we do know that this is using video boost, so it will upload to the server and take a while to process. And the native recording is not 4K. Let's see if this really does help the image quality. We are now recording in their respective video portrait mode, cinematic mode, background blur on the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, S25 Ultra, the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Now, of course, with the iPhone and the Samsung, this does allow you to do it in the 4K 30 frames per second video recorder mode. The Google is still limited to 1080p 24 FPS. Now, in this particular low light situation, Samsung tends to typically work a lot better. The Pixel does work decently well, and you will see that most of the time the iPhone is going to ask for more light. So let's just see how it works when it comes to the background blur. Now that is it with this detailed definitive camera comparison between the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, the iPhone 16 Pro Max and the Galaxy S25 Ultra. What are your thoughts? Are you impressed with the camera system and the quality output from the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL? Were you expecting more, or is it definitively still the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra and the iPhone 16 Pro Max that steal it? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. That is it for me, Ben from Lover of Tech. If you enjoy videos like this, you know exactly what to do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're part of Team TLS, the Tech Lover Squad, so you don't miss any future videos on the channel. I hope you're all safe during this time. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.